Greetings, fellow Taoists, and welcome to 1991 Review. Among the myriad spirit beasts under Old Devil Han, there are those who are absolutely loyal like the gold-devouring beetles, and those with vast divine abilities like the weeping soul beast. But there exists one unique entity known as the most notorious rebel bone traitor, a true white-eyed wolf, an ungrateful wretch. The one Han Li painstakingly nurtured from an egg, yet dared to plot to devour its master. The one who dared to covet and snatch away its own master's confidant. One of the beings that stirred up storms and caused chaos throughout the spirit realm. Today, we will discuss the six-winged frost centipede. Fellow Taoists who have not read the original work might not be clear on this. This is the fourth spirit beast Han Li, Old Devil Han, subdued and tamed, ranking after the gold-devouring beetles and the weeping soul beast. Its nickname is Little Six, but in reality, it is a notorious rebel bone, one that almost harmed his master, Han Li, even dared to covet and snatch away his confidant, and was also one of the beings that stir up storms throughout the spirit realm. In this discourse, I, this humble one, will narrate in detail the journey of this white-eyed wolf. Before we begin, any fated fellow Taoist who has a moment, please bestow some good karma. Press that free approval like. This humble one thanks you all. The six-winged frost centipede first appeared when Han Li was at the early nascent soul stage. At that time, Han Li had left nascent Soul City and returned to his homeland to fulfill a long-standing commission from his late friend, Xian Ruin. He intended to go to the Yuan Wu Kingdom, which was once the territory of the Yu Kingdom, now fallen into the hands of the sixth sects of the demonic Tao. With his nascent soul stage cultivation base, annihilating a cultivator clan, and then retreating without a trace was, for him, as easy as turning over his hand. On the way to the Yuan Wu Kingdom, Han Li accidentally captured Supreme with spiritual infant being raised by the spirit-controlling sect. He thought the matter was settled, but when he returned to the Drifting Cloud sect, he discovered he was being followed by several core formation stage cultivators from the spirit-controlling sect. It turned out this group had been dispatched by their sect to find the whereabouts of the Supreme with spiritual infant. When they learned the spiritual creature had fallen into the hands of a nascent soul old monster, they immediately scattered and fled in terror. Han Li already disliked the demonic Tao, and having just massacred a cultivator clan, his killing intent was already aroused. How could he possibly leave witnesses behind? Among them, a female disciple named Lu Yu, under pressure of life and death from Han Li, was forced to release the six-winged frost centipede. Although it was only a larva, its power was by no means ordinary. Han Li, being well-versed in ancient and modern lore, immediately recognized the origin of this bizarre insect. This was the six-winged frost centipede, ranked 18th on the bizarre insect ranking, a descendant of an ancient spirit insect from the Desolate Era, similar in origin to his gold-devouring beetles. It carried the ice attribute bloodline of a true dragon. Once it evolved to its mature form, it would gain sentience. Its entire body would be snow white. 6 wings would grow from its back, and the frost chi it exhaled could cover 100 miles, freezing all creation. At the 2-wing stage, its speed was no less than other ordinary spirit insects. But when it grew another pair of wings to become 4-winged, its speed increased dramatically, far surpassing that of ordinary magic treasures. The most terrifying thing was when it evolved to 6 wings. Its speed could rank in the top 3 among all spirit insects. It is said that it could come and go without a shadow, without a trace, and be 1,000 miles away in an instant. Seeing this rare treasure, how could Han Li not be moved? He flashed to Lu Yu's side, easily subdued her, knocking her unconscious, and then carried both the person and the beast back to his cave residence at the Drifting Cloud sect. Fellow Taoists, do not misunderstand. Typically, cultivators controlling spirit beasts place a master-servant restriction or death curse. When the master perishes, the spirit beast will also self-detonate to prevent it from falling into enemy hands. Therefore, Han Li could not directly kill Lu Yu if he wanted to obtain the 6-winged frost centipede's egg. Furthermore, he was also targeting the insect-controlling secret art of the spirit-controlling sect, which was famous throughout the Heavenly South region for controlling spirit insects and beasts. As a result, Han Li established his lineage and accepted Lu Yu as the first disciple in his life. Lu Yu, knowing her place, handed over the 6-winged frost centipede egg to him. This situation was just like when an extreme mean ancestor discovered Han. Li possessed the blood jade spider and pretended to accept him as a disciple to enter the Misty Palace to seize treasures. However, Han Li treated his disciple quite well. After hatching the 6-winged frost centipede's egg, Han Li began his path of a nanny in the human realm. Lacking experience, he initially tried using rainbow skirt grass to feed them, but he discovered they had an evolutionary trait identical to the gold-devouring beetles. They devoured each other. This made him overjoyed. He selected the 12 strongest ones and nurtured them with snow soul pills. The 6-winged frost centipedes gradually grew snow-white wings, and their frost chi intensified. By the time Han Li reached the late nascent soul stage and entered 100-year seclusion in the Heavenly South, The six-winged frost centipedes were spurred to evolve, growing their second pair of wings 4 wings, leaping from level 5 to the great completion level 7. They could summon wind and snow. 12 of them attacking together could turn over 10 miles of land into a glacier. The level 7 six-winged frost centipede's debut battle was when Han Li received a distress message from Ling Yuling via a 10,000-mile talisman. He went to the scattered star seas, annihilated the Six Paths Extreme Sage, and disbanded the Star-Defying Alliance. To supplement the metal attribute in his 5-element spiritual roots, Han Li ambushed the Golden Jiao King in the outer seas of the scattered star seas. At that very moment, the great benefactor, Feng, she was with the Golden Jiao King. Han Li used a heaven-connecting spirit treasure, the 8 spirit ruler, to suppress Feng Shi, then released the 12 six-winged frost centipedes to charge forward. A cloud of blood mist surrounded Feng Shi as he screamed miserably, frozen by the overwhelming frost chi into a transparent block of ice. Han Li used his flying daggers to slash the old man's body into 7 or 8 pieces. Feng Shi's nascent soul hastily fled, but one of the centipedes opened its mouth and swallowed it whole, turning it into a delicious, nourishing meal. However, from that very moment devouring a spirit transformation stage nascent soul, the seeds of abnormality began to sprout within the six-winged frost centipede. When Han Li reached the peak of the early spirit transformation stage, he and the Ice Phoenix, his confidant, secretly crossed a spatial node to ascend to the spirit realm. Beforehand, they had placed a restriction on each other. If one party encountered danger in the node, the other must rescue them, or the restriction would activate with a backlash. After many hardships, Han Li passed through the spatial storm to the spirit realm, but unfortunately, he was separated from the Ice Phoenix. The restriction's backlash activated. His cultivation was completely lost, his spiritual power depleted, forcing him to disperse his cultivation. His situation was like that of a mortal back in the Yinming land of the human realm. Even facing a core formation cultivator, he would find it difficult to protect himself. For safety, Han Li kept the Palm Sky bottle and 2 immortal exterminating beads on his person. All his other treasures were placed in a storage pouch, buried beneath the Green Net Desert in the spirit realm, and entrusted to the gold-devouring beetles, the six-winged frost centipedes, and the weeping soul beast guard. He opened the spirit beast pouch, ordered them to protect the storage pouch, and then left, intending to return when his magic power recovered. But who could have known? This separation would mark the beginning of the six-winged frost centipede's betrayal. Han Li never expected that when he had cultivated the Vajra art to near great completion, regained the ability to protect himself, and returned to retrieve his storage pouch, he would only see a giant insect husk in the desert. The 12 six-winged frost centipedes, during his absence, had devoured each other, giving birth to one true, six-winged frost centipede. Its cultivation base had reached a great completion spirit transformation stage, even surpassing his master. Suddenly, the six-winged frost centipede spotted Han Li. Its 6 wings flapped, and it transformed into a white afterimage, rushing over. In just a few breaths, it appeared above his head, grinding its teeth, its gaze unfriendly. Han Li showed a strange expression, looking at it without blinking, but the hand behind his back had already tightly grasped the 2 immortal exterminating beads. The six-winged frost centipede hesitated for a moment, then abruptly turned and flew toward the horizon, disappearing. Only then did Han Li let out a sigh of relief, his expression relaxing, but then he gave a bitter smile. He had raised a six-winged frost centipede from an egg, spent so much effort, even using the Palm Sky bottle to accelerate the spirit insect's growth. Yet, when it reached its mature form and gained sentience, the first thing it wanted to do was kill its master to escape control. This feeling was truly like having all his efforts go to waste. Fortunately, thanks to the restriction placed in the human realm, the six-winged frost centipede did not dare to attack. It also did not take the storage pouch containing his entire fortune, and, crucially, did not know about the existence of the Palm Sky bottle. Otherwise, perhaps there wouldn't be a record of a mortal's journey to immortality, but rather the six-winged's journey to immortality. The next time the six-winged frost centipede appeared, it was 800 years later. By now, it had taken human form as a youth in white robes, bearing a slight resemblance to Han Li, and its cultivation base had reached a late void refinement stage. After leaving Han Li, it had a fortuitous encounter, meeting the Sky Cavern Mouse King, one of the 7 great monster kings of the spirit realm. The Mouse King's avatar was a heavenly azure sacred beast, an old acquaintance of Han Li's from the human realm. To guard against the heavenly tribulation, the Mouse King had left a sole avatar in the human realm as a backup plan. Now, the old monster had comprehended the nice spirit true in great art from a golden jade tome, which was highly compatible with the six-winged frost centipede's mutated ice attribute bloodline. The two made a pact. The centipede would cultivate a true spirit body and help the Mouse King overcome his heavenly tribulation. In return, the Mouse King would help it dissolve the blood contract of master and servant with Han Li. The centipede entered the desolate wildlands alone, hunting ice attribute monster beasts, devouring their monster cores, and seeking places of extreme cold to absorb the supreme yin chi. It vowed to reach the great accomplishment stage within 1,000 years to prepare for condensing its true spirit form. And indeed, in just a few hundred years, it advanced to the great accomplishment stage, proving the formidability of the cultivation art. During this time, it encountered the Ice Phoenix Fairy cultivating in the desolate wildlands. Seeing that she also possessed a true dragon ice attribute bloodline and had a beautiful appearance, the Centipede, after 1,000 years of cultivating to the great accomplishment stage, decided to reward itself. Disregarding the Ice Phoenix's wishes, it forced her to be its Tao companion, intending to forcibly engage in dual cultivation. The Ice Phoenix was both furious and ashamed. In the spirit realm, thanks to Han Li's charm and care, her heart already held a place for him. Unfortunately, Han Li only treated her as the cheerleading captain. The Centipede, despite resembling Han Li, how could it replace its position in her heart? The Ice Phoenix made a gamble, establishing the 10,000-year pact. If Han Li ascended to the immortal realm within 10,000 years, the Centipede must stay away from her. Otherwise, she would become its Tao companion. Moreover, the Ice Phoenix had briefly raised a 6-winged frost centipede in the human realm. Becoming Tao companions now would be truly chaotic in terms of seniority. With her late void refinement cultivation, she knew she couldn't fight a great accomplishment stage centipede, nor could she escape. She could only be forced to roam the spirit realm with it. At the same time, Ma Liang, a true immortal from the immortal realm, was dispatched by the Nine Origins Temple to the spirit realm to hunt down the traitor, the skeletal immortal, with the goal of retrieving the Palm Sky bottle. But the Palm Sky bottle was already in Han Li's hands, a fact Ma Liang did not know. He arrived at the Blood Sky continent, and while searching for the skeletal immortal, he also conducted blood sacrifices of living beings to refine the myriad spirit blood scale. The blood scale merely needed to radiate its aura to terrify great accomplishment stage cultivators. Ma Liang easily killed 3 great accomplishment cultivators. The 6-winged frost centipede and the Ice Phoenix were hiding and observing, but were discovered. Seeing that both possessed a rare true dragon ice attribute bloodline, Ma Liang wanted to take them as spirit slaves. He gave them a probationary period to think it over. Otherwise, he would annihilate them. The centipede had not yet even broken its blood contract with Han Li, and now a true immortal was demanding it become a spirit slave. It flew into a rage. Become a spirit slave? Dream on. Even if you kowtow to me, I wouldn't bother. Ma Liang attacked angrily. The centipede, imitating Han Li, transformed to have 8 wings and fled with the Ice Phoenix. Ma Liang had already marked the 2 of them and pursued them leisurely, conducting blood sacrifices everywhere he went. The spirit realm had 3 continents. Wherever the centipede fled, Ma Liang massacred, killing dozens of great accomplishment stage cultivators and several true dragons. Finally, they reached the Wind Origin continent. The Ice Phoenix advised the centipede to seek help from Han Li, but the centipede would rather die than bow its head to its old master. At the same time, Han Li heard news that his former spirit beast was being hunted by a true immortal and had already arrived on the Wind Origin continent. To prevent the human race from being massacred, he and the other peak great accomplishment cultivators set up an ambush in the heaven beyond heaven. Han Li sent a message to the Ice Phoenix, demanding the centipede come and see him. The centipede thought Han Li was tricking it, but on second thought, with their cultivation bases being on par, it had nothing to fear. Upon arriving, the centipede wanted to test the strength of the legendary Han Li. Han Li just sneered coldly, questioning, "Your wings are hard now? You think just because you're faster than me, you're invincible under the heavens? Have you forgotten the blood contract I left in your spiritual soul?" The centipede didn't believe the blood contract was still effective when they were both at the same cultivation level. But Han Li cultivated the spirit refining technique from the immortal realm, and his spiritual sense was far stronger than others at the same stage. He easily activated the blood contract. A powerful divine force enveloped the centipede. It immediately felt its spiritual sense fall into chaos, its body paralyzed, completely at the mercy of others. The Ice Phoenix at its side was astonished, her eyes wide. Afterward, Han Li annihilated Ma Liang and erased the spiritual soul imprint on the Ice Phoenix. As for the 6-winged frost centipede, he offered a solution that benefited both parties. For 1,000 years, the centipede must collect rare materials for him. In exchange, he would erase the blood contract and grant it freedom. As an advance payment, he immediately erased Ma Liang's imprint on the centipede. Han Li was not a heartless person. If not for the countless spirit medicines and his painstaking efforts in the human realm, the centipede could not have mutated, gained sentience, and reached this day. Collecting materials was to repay that effort. Furthermore, if the human race encountered calamity, the centipede must help out 3 times. This was also Han Li's way of acknowledging its power. He knew he would soon ascend to the immortal realm, so he was preparing for the human race's future. The 6-winged frost centipede reluctantly agreed. After Han Li erased Ma Liang's imprint, it transformed into a golden streak of light and flew away with no further stories. Perhaps before Han Li ascended, the Centipede completed its mission and obtained its freedom. In a record of a mortal's journey to immortality, the Centipede is a unique character, carrying a shadow of Han Li himself, believing in my fate is mine to decide, not heaven's. It wanted to grasp its own destiny. For the sake of freedom, it was willing to cast everything aside, even facing a true immortal. It would rather die than submit. In the spirit realm, in just over 1,000 years, it reached a great accomplishment stage through its own fortuitous encounters, making Han Li, through the accounts of the Ice Phoenix and the Mouse King, feel the difficulty of its journey. Although it could have easily killed the Centipede, Han Li ultimately chose to fulfill its dream of freedom. While the gold-devouring beetles and the weeping soul beast had more brilliant journeys in the immortal realm, it is this very difference that highlights the uniqueness of the characters in a record of a mortal's journey to immortality. This discourse on the white-eyed wolf, the six-winged frost centipede, will temporarily conclude here. One who believed, my fate is mine to decide, one who dared to face a true immortal to protect its dignity, was finally granted its wish by Han Li, given back the two words it longed for, freedom. But have you fellow Taoists ever wondered, after old Devil Han ascended to the immortal realm, leaving the centipede alone in the spirit realm, was that fulfillment, or was it a punishment even more terrifying? Was its path of freedom truly complete? Or did it ever feel regret when it watched the gold-devouring beetles and the weeping soul beast follow their master to battle in the immortal domains, their names echoing through the ages? And among Han Li's three great spirit beasts, the gold-devouring beetles, the weeping soul beast, and the six-winged frost centipede, which one left the deepest impression on you, fellow Taoists? Please leave your comments below. Any fated fellow Taoist, please do not hesitate to bestow some good karma, like, and hit that subscription bell to continue discussing other legendary characters with 1991 review in the next installment. This humble one thanks you. Farewell.